So I want us to watch this video about the current issue that is going on between Israel and Palestine and what Dr. Jordan Peterson said in a tweet. So let's watch.
Jordan Peterson has tweeted to Netanyahu, "Give him hell," advocating violence against the Palestinians. What is your response to Jordan Peterson and the like?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, قَدْ بَدَتِ الْبَغْضَاءُ مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورُهُمْ أَكْبَرُ. Hatred has appeared from their tongues, and the hatred that their hearts conceal is even more so. This is a person that I have been seeing his videos on and off. There's no doubt there's some issues that are positive, but I have always found him to be an ardent supporter of Zionism against our Palestinian brothers and sisters. And this has shown clearly from the very beginning. This recent tweet of his once again indicates that not just him, but overall, so many of our politicians, so many of our pseudo-philosophers, they're looking at this entire reality from an extremely skewed narrative. How can one ignore 80 years of oppression? How can one ignore 80 years of colonization? How can one ignore 80 years of direct taking over of the lands and the peoples? People that are not even Muslim, Nelson Mandela and others have mentioned that the Palestinians have been treated at times worse than, Nelson Mandela says, in some policies worse than the South Africans were treated under the apartheid regime. How can we ignore this reality? And then when Palestinians attack back, what their oppression has been is ignored, and that one attack is highlighted. So the reality is that this type of one-sided reporting and this type of narrative in which only one side is perceived as the victim and the other side is completely ignored, it is about time we demolish this narrative. Let us take a look at the full picture. Fact of the matter is that our Palestinian brothers and sisters, their land, their lives, their peoples have been taken over for 3 generations. For how long will they remain like this? The world has been completely ignoring their plight. I have visited that land multiple times. I've interacted with the Palestinians. Why is there a Palestinian diaspora around the world? Over 10 million Palestinians are scattered around the world. Their ancestors have keys to their homes. How come nobody looks at them? Nobody sees their stories. Nobody sees that Gaza is the largest open-air prison in the world. Do you know who said this? Our own President Jimmy Carter of America. Jimmy Carter visited that land and said this is the largest open-air prison that he has ever seen. Millions of people cramped in a small area, completely controlled by the surrounding territories. How come nobody sees the conditions they're living in? The refugee camps and the squalor that is happening for millions of people. So, subhanAllah, this person, all I can say back to him, as Allah says in the Quran, قُلْ مُوتُوا بِغَيْظِكُمْ. Perish in your rage. His fate and the fate of all of those who support apartheid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of them. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect our brothers and sisters who are oppressed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant victory to those who have been oppressed for decades and decades. May we see victory to all of these oppressed brothers and sisters. May Allah Azza wa Jal cause us all to be instruments of khair in that region.
I understand that Dr. Jordan Peterson is best buddy with Netanyahu. And I also understand that Peterson has a very huge following. In fact, I watch him like a lot because I think that he has some good qualities that I really admire. That is for sure, you know. But for him to tweet such a thing in this very complicated moment, in my own opinion, is not correct because that is a very sensitive tweet he made. To just wage hell on them is not really a good thing that someone like him, who has almost 5 million followers on YouTube alone, not to talk about Twitter and all the other platforms, should be tweeting. Because I'm guessing some of his followers will be Palestinians. I'm guessing some of his followers will be people from the Muslim community. And he cannot just give full support to Benjamin Netanyahu. He cannot just do that. Because I have always asked this question, right? How did all this came to be? Like, how did no one saw this coming? This has been the question I've been asking since this whole crisis broke out. How come almost 500 Hamas fighters were able to stream through the border into Israel and commit a lot of havoc? They came in from the air, the sea, and on land. And how come no one saw this? And like I have said before, this cannot just happen in a vacuum. That this whole incident took some planning. And are you telling me that even the CIA, with all their informants, didn't get a slight hint of what was going on? Or even the most deadly of all spies agency, the Mossad, that is the Israeli spy agency, did not get any hint about what was going on? And how come the border was so like no security at the border, no surveillance cameras at the border? And you must realize that Israel is one of the most surveillance state, right? Everything is being captured. They have satellite in the skies. They have surveillance cameras here and there. So how come no one saw this? How come? So this is something that I think the government of Israel will have to answer to. Maybe not in this lifetime, but in the future, they will have to answer to, because I think there are a lot of unanswered questions that has to be answered as to what really went on. Because it's hard to believe it. It's really, really hard. Because I have tried my best to like say, okay, maybe they never thought that Hamas was gonna attack. So they just didn't put measures in place. But then again, what about their satellites? What about their spies agency? What about their collaboration with other friendly spy agency like the MI6? No one had a tip off about what was supposed to go on. Or they just let it play out so that Israel can now go in with all their might and just crumble the whole of Gaza. Maybe that might be another scenario. Maybe, because you never know what these political people or political elites or war mongers can do. You never know. They can do terrible, terrible things just so to show that they are more superior than other people. But coming back to Dr. Jordan Peterson and the tweet he put out, I really believe that it might have been a lapse of judgment, because Dr. Jordan Peterson should have known better not to put out such a tweet in this very sensitive moment. Should have known that sending out such a tweet to Israel or to Benjamin Netanyahu is just going to create a lot of confusion and not really get anything solved. And he was going to anger a lot of people who will feel like, how can you put out such a thing? Now, Hamas attacking or invading Israel is totally wrong. And I think they should get all what they deserve from the international community and also from the Israeli forces. If Israel can pinpoint the Hamas organization or group, they should capture them and punish them according to international laws. But for them to go attacking Gaza, for them to go shooting all sorts of things into Gaza and bringing down buildings with people inside and killing the local people in Gaza, the Palestinians, this is totally wrong, because I believe these are people who had nothing to do with what went on. They are just ordinary people who are just getting along with their lives. And they do not deserve to be caught in the middle. But you guys out there, what is your take on the tweet put out by Dr. Jordan Peterson? Is it appropriate for someone who is as popular as he is to be saying such a thing in this very sensitive moment? Share your thoughts and opinions with us in the comment section below, because I always will love hearing what you have to say. And also, don't forget to like this video, share this video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel, because little bit of good way, like the one you're doing just now, help us a lot, and we shall ever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.